play bass for the Attic.
I'm Joel, and I play drums for the Attic.
I'm Jordan, I play guitar.
I'm Tom, and I also play guitar.
We do vocals too.
We also do sing. Yes.
Yeah, the band started, I was playing happy hour solo acoustic, gigs at the Wheelhouse Tavern. And
one night he decided to actually play on the main stage instead of just in the corner. So he called up some kids, they all came down, they started playing.
After that night we decided, hey, that would be fun, let's do that next week, and then that progressed into something that made us start thinking maybe we should be practicing a little bit, or like try to have some material if we're going to be doing this and playing for people.
They got the gig every other Thursday at the Wheelhouse. Started building a crowd a little bit.
And that was really the turning point once we decided that we were going to start practicing and meeting up and coming up with, writing some material of our own. That was really the beginning of what it turned into today.
One of the most gratifying things is, the payoff, the playing shows and, having a good time. I mean, there's a lot of bullshit leading up to and after, playing a show, and that's kind of like your reward, I guess, when you have a good show and you play a good show. A lot of people come out and they have a good time.
The most gratifying thing about being in a band is being able to, is the creativity aspect of it, and music makes me feel good, and I like writing it. I like the people that I play music with, so I think that's a major, compliment to the whole scenario. Some people, a lot of bands, they're stuck with people that they're in a band with, and maybe they like the way the music goes, but on a personal level, they may not like each other. But I think it's given me some good friendships in addition to the music.
There's a lot of challenges to being in a band. Dealing with three other dudes that it's a lot. I always say it's a lot like a relationship.
You just have four people with four of their own lives individually, and the schedules that go along with that, and finding the time to get together, A, to practice, and B, to perform shows and travel and stuff like that. And it's just, it's always a process of communication and, syncing up and getting everybody on the same page and taking into account what everyone else has got going on outside of the band.
That was a good challenge, but there's a lot of challenges. Progressing as groups and individually, it's all a challenge.
Well, that's the most important thing. Is as long as there's a progression, you can keep forging ahead.
There has to be a progression, or otherwise it's just gonna flop. So that's the hardest and most important thing.
At the beginning, our fans were our friends, I guess, as most bands are. We had a lot of friends, and what's great now is it's progressed to the point where we have real fans that they're there for the music and the scene. Fans are awesome. We have a lot of people that will travel up to Boston and out of town to go see us play, which is really it's really awesome.
We would go every Thursday night to see the Attic play, and then we would see Creation also play, which was another band that was just a drummer and a keyboardist, and they would alternate Thursdays, the Attic and then Creation every other week, and that's how I really first got exposed with the Attic themselves as a band.
Music scene in South County. We're probably one of the longest standing bands that I can think of at the moment. That keeps on rocking it. We're still we're still rocking the local scene.
Yeah, the music scene here has always been pretty good. There's always been a lot of good musicians around, you know. Started with Big Funk Nugget, you know, it's kind of started, I feel like.
For our generation.
Yeah, for our generation, yeah.
And being a musician, I ended up jamming with Funk Nugget and really getting into the URI scene that they revolved around. And that really kind of opened up the door for what came after with Uncle Everett and the Attic and The Move and a lot of the bands we have now.
And I was lucky enough to meet like a really good group of people that all had similar taste in music as I do, and through that I was able to get some exposure to a lot of the local music that was just happening in Rhode Island through kids that were going to URI and also kids that were locally from Rhode Island, especially in South County. We would just go to houses, maybe this house and a house over in East Mattoon Beach and Charlestown, and we would just go to the parties and listen to all of the jams that were happening. And one of the best things I think about those parties were that there were so many talented musicians that were at the parties that you just never knew who was playing at the time. It could be any number of people or any different group of people that were playing, and to go down into the basement and see who was actually playing was really cool, like the different rotations of people.
And the house here was the home to Funk Nugget back in the day, just as it is the Attic now. It kind of really shows the progression in the scene here. Of course, at this time, you know, years are going by and colleges, different people are coming to college and coming to the state, and the scene's expanding. You know, at this point I've gone through, you know, at least 3, maybe 4 groups of, you know, whole scenes of people through the URI crowd and the South County scene, which is pretty amazing.
We're definitely trying to make it big. Otherwise, I'd have a real job by now, as would.
No, I wouldn't say that. You know, it's kind of. I'd say it's kind of skeptical to say that. You know, we're going to become fucking. So we're going to become enormous, but to be able to survive and just play music would be, to me, a success.
No, I don't have to be on MTV necessarily to be happy or be playing, you know, Giant Stadium, but I could be just sustaining, you know, a living through playing in the band.
That definition of success is basically exactly what he said, to be able to, you know, to be able to do that and only that, and you know, be happy and, you know, be able to take care of yourself, and that's basically it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to play Giant Stadium, but, you know, just like, you know, I'd rather, you know, Madison Square Garden do the trick.
They're really just a fun group of people to be around. They're, you know, not only band members, but they're also really good friends, and they're good people to be around. And
We're still around.
Yeah, still hanging tough. Woo!
Awesome.